Hey everyone, One Spittin' here with another Warhammer Battle Report. Doing something different this time. I showed up to the game store and I didn't want to bring my Beastmen because they need some more work done on them. And so I pulled out my Bretonnians and was offered a game by a Dark Elf player that I've played several times recently. And just to mix things up, we decided to switch armies. So we decided because everything in playing a new army was going to be challenging enough, so we decided just to do a pitched battle with it and swapped them up, explained our lists, and went away with it. So a lot of fun, different experience. So these, let's see, this is I'm the Dark Elf player, so this is my far right, his far left. He's got bowmen, fast cav, a whole bunch of men-at-arms, and he's got a level 2 caster with the Lore of Beasts, trebuchet, 4 Pegasus Knights, and there he decided to do a weighted flank with all his knights over here. So he had from right to left Knights Errant, Questing Knights, Knights of the Realm with the Battle Standard Bearer, and then Grail Knights. Errants have the Errantry Banner, Questing Knights have the War Banner, Knights of the Realm have the Flaming Banner, and the Battle Standard Bearer is just built to be defensive. He's got a 2-up rerollable and is immune to poison and killing blow. There's a level 4 prophetess with them, has Lore of Life, and the Grail Knights have the banner if you can't stand and shoot. That's a good looking army. So, you know, I started out with woods in the middle of the table being my focal point, and I was actually building symmetrically from that middle of the table. But, you know, he has 2 units of harpies, so I put them down first, and then my bolt thrower. So by the time I got to putting units down, I saw that he was waiting this one flank, and so I started throwing units over here. So the way this worked out was kind of a little bit weird that way. But starting on my left, I've got a unit of warriors, and there's a level 2 caster. This one has Lore of Shadow. I have the crossbows. I have witch elves, repeater crossbow behind it. Behind the witch elves, you can't really see, but there's the Cauldron of Blood, Battle Standard Bearer. Another unit of warriors, some harpies in front of it, and some blackguard. Blackguard have the armor-piercing banner. And he has a lord that he normally puts with the blackguard. I decided to put him with the warriors. It seems to me that if you put him with the blackguard, you just have just more of a Death Star, and I think it's plenty adequate for what I need it for. Putting the lord with the warriors, I think, makes them just a lot better. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. There behind the woods, I have a Hydra, more harpies, and another bolt thrower. So again, the bolt thrower and the harpies went down before I knew anything about what was going on. When I saw, I don't remember who placed what first. I think I put my Hydra in front of the woods because I didn't want my troops going through the woods and losing their any possible steadfast. And anyway, when he put his troops there, my immediate thought was, well, let's engage his troops in the woods so he doesn't have steadfast. So that's kind of what I was hoping for. So there's a look down my battle line. And there's his vanguard movement. He didn't want to move too far up because my Hydra was in potential charge range. And we go to Dark Elf turn 1, and I can actually go first. This is just, yeah, so different and so nice. So the first thing I did was I declared a charge with my Hydra against his fast cav, just to see if I could get him to flee. If he didn't flee, I was just going to move up a little bit into the woods, and it really wasn't a big deal, but I thought I'd try it. And sure enough, his fast cav failed their terror test, fled through everybody, and I was in a way I was hoping it would cause a panic test in the men-at-arms and get them to run off the table. But I say in a way because had that happened, I would have just been sick and I probably would have told him just to put him back on the table. But yeah, having a terror causer is kind of nice. So anyway, Dark Elf turn 1. Now that little pond looking thing is the wording well, and we were treating it as impassable. So that's another reason why there's very few units there in the middle for me. So over here I move up. I'm not worried about him making those charges. He's so far away that if he could make one, it wouldn't be a dual charge probably. So I move up a little bit. The crossbows I made a mistake with because I moved up just a little bit, so they got their -1 penalty to shoot, but not enough that my back row could actually reach the Grail Knights. So kind of a fail there, but whatever. The harpies, the front unit of harpies I really wanted to go after is trebuchet. The one in the back here was at my far right, and I really didn't see anything for them to do besides get shot at by his bowmen. So I brought him over here, just find another use for him later. So there's a close-up of his fast cav almost going off the board and almost causing a panic test, or definitely causing a panic test, but almost causing those men-at-arms to flee off the table. So during the shooting phase, like I said, only 10 of these crossbows could shoot. So that's 20 shots, hitting on 6s. So you figure I should hit 3 or 4, wounding on 4s. So I should wound 2-ish, 1 or 2, and then maybe get lucky and kill 1. And as it turned out, I didn't kill 1, I killed 4. So really, really insanely good rolling on my part, and just some real bad luck for the Bretonnians. So Bretonnia turn 1. Well, the board is, as you can see, the most important thing that happened, he took his Pegasus Knights and charged into the flank of my warrior unit. And I think the Knights Errant failed their impetuous test, and they had a charge and they couldn't make it, so they had a failed charge. And his other knights, I think for the most part, he just moved up to keep even with them. So this really can't go well for the Bretonnians, because even if you were to win combat, I'm going to be stubborn 10 rerollable. And there's really no reason to think he's going to do that well. And if he can't break me, he's going to get countercharged by my blackguard, and then he's really going to die. So don't foresee real good things happening for the Bretonnians with the Pegasus Knight charge. Otherwise, you can see how he just kind of kept his units together. And here's a look from the normal side of the board. And there's his right side. So during the magic phase, I forgot the spell that went off, but I think he cast Regrowth and grew 1 more Grail Knight, miscast, or Irresistible Forced, and killed a bunch of knights and put a wound on the sorceress, and a wound on the Battle Standard Bearer, which, because she has Lore of Life, doesn't mean a whole lot. She can regrow those wounds, but still. So here at the end of combat, you can see I'm missing a few warriors, but really there was no harm done there. There's 1 wound put on my lord. I have a Dark Elf lord. I forgot how he was kitted out. I think he had like 5 attacks, strength 5, obviously with hatred first turn. I didn't do a single wound on his champion, and he did a wound on me. Wow. Okay, so Dark Elf turn 2. So if you look at the Hydra in the forest, I declared a charge against his men-at-arms, really just hoping, I just wanted to cause a terror test and see if I could get him to flee and go off the board again. And he passed his terror, and then I really didn't want to make it into combat. I want to fight that in the woods, but then I rolled insanely high, and I actually made the charge. So I'm not real worried about it, but it's not really what I was planning on doing. The Blackguard obviously charged the flank of the Pegasus Knights. That's not going to go good for the Pegasus Knights. He did 1 wound on me in his previous shooting turn, and then this turn, I know in combat he does 1 wound against the Hydra. Harpies got into the Trebuchet, and on this side of the board, these crossbowmen finish off the Grail Knights, and really without any difficulty whatsoever. So now one thing I'm learning too is I don't know how to play these magic users, because the way I positioned them, they were pretty much out of range. Most of their spells are 12 to 18-inch ranges, and I'm just out of range for everything. So I thought that was interesting how when I face this opponent, he uses magic very, very well, and then when I'm using this team, I don't know what the heck to do. But one thing I did, the Winds of Magic this turn, I actually rolled like 10 or 11. I was really excited because combats are starting, and really excited to see what I can do. And the very first cast, I did Irresistible Force and ended the magic phase, put a wound on both of my casters, and it was just kind of an epic fail all the way around. Now, one thing I really like, the Cauldron of Blood, I put Killing Blow on the Witch Elves, because I'm thinking with all the attacks they have, they have extra hand weapons, so base 2 attacks, they're frenzied, that's 3 attacks each on the front line, and they all have Killing Blow with hatred first turn. So I'm just really hoping he charges that unit. So over here again, he did 1 wound on me. I did just a whole bunch of wounds on them. The problem is they're going to be steadfast, but they're only steadfast 6 because of that champion, and they're not going to hold up very much longer having to make that test over and over again. So over here, easily beat the Pegasus Knights, ran them down, but we had to turn away from the warriors. So it actually the main fight is up from this picture. It's not to the right like these guys are facing, but the warriors had the most ranks. So didn't really quite think about that. But anyway, I pursued with both, and he's lined up for a flank charge with the warrior unit, and I've already decided that if he charges them, I'm going to flee, and it's going to be longer for him to get to the Blackguard, and if he wants to get there, that's fine. At least they're stubborn. But I'm not willing to lose my general with all those warriors on a flank charge, so yeah, we'll see. So the Harpies make short work of the Trebuchet, and we go to Bretonnian turn 2, and he declares a double charge against the Witch Elves. I really think that's probably as good as he could do there. But again, I've got Killing Blow on those witches, and so I'm actually pretty excited to see how they perform. He declares a charge against my general's unit with the warriors. I flee. He redirects into the Blackguard, and he can't make the distance. So that's how that turned out. He reforms with his archers, puts his mage in there so he can shoot at the Harpies and give her a little bit of protection. He regrows some knights in his Knight of the Realm unit. And after combat, it goes like that. I don't know what the odds were. I thought I would have killed a few more of his, but I'm okay with it. I was very, very okay with how they performed, because I'll just put Killing Blow on him next turn as well. So, you know, they're going to be brutal with those units. My Witch Elves are stubborn because they're close to the Cauldron, so they're Stubborn 8 rerollable. I don't think they're going anywhere. He's going to have to kill them to the last Witch, and they're going to take down a lot on the way. And by the time they can do that, I think I'll be in their flank. So pretty confident with how that battle's going to go. Here, the Hydra beat him again, and this time they failed their Steadfast 6, and that was no surprise, really. And after combat, this time the witches kind of failed. They didn't have that hatred, and didn't really do a whole lot of damage. But they were stubborn, so we're okay. Both of us reformed to bring as many models into combat as possible. We realized later that once the Bretonnians go out of lance formation, the Prophetess can't be in the second rank. And he didn't know. He doesn't play Bretonnians, and I didn't even think about it. And I pointed out later, and it really wasn't a big deal. And I think if he had known that, he just wouldn't have expanded that one knight on the left, that yellow and green one. So, I mean, not a big deal. So, Dark Elf turn 3. I easily rally the warrior unit, bring my Blackguard up. So really, we're just set to countercharge next time, no matter really what he does. I think I'm very confident in the Witch Elves not being killed completely in the next 2 rounds, and so I think I'll get some flanks there. Crossbows going around the flank here. This warrior unit in my far left corner is really kind of blocked because of the crossbows, which isn't the end of the world, but yeah, it's kind of not the most ideal way to play. So I declare a charge with the Harpies first, and he does a stand and shoot and causes a panic on the Harpies, and then my Hydra got in, and they couldn't stand and shoot at the Hydra, which is really more of my concern. Not that he was likely to do the few wounds necessary to kill him, but still, I just didn't want him doing that, and I didn't care about the Harpies. So here's a Hydra, and these guys, I really think they're going to do just, my Hydra's going to do just fine. Some spell goes off, kills a bunch of Knights Errant, and in the process kills my mage. So it was obviously a Lore of Shadow spell. I think it was like take an initiative test or die. After combat, so I kill his mage, but these bowmen are Steadfast 5, and he actually makes it. So, darn it. We'll be fighting there another round. And these knights go to town on the Witch Elves. I was really surprised with how well they did. But the Witch Elves hold, so we're okay. And this says Dark Elves 3, but that's wrong. It's actually Bretonnian 3, because you can see his Knights Errant get a charge into the Blackguard. Yeah, I'm really not worried about that. Those Knights Errant are not going to stand up to that big unit of Blackguard. But he does finish off the rest of the Witch Elves, but all I can really do is reform and now get ready for my charges. So I'm not really worried about that. I think the Witch Elves did their job. They weakened him, held him up. And so after, on my turn, the Hydra killed a bunch of bowmen, beat him, and yeah, they're toast. He'll finish them off. The Knights Errant are actually, they've lasted more than I thought they would. I get the charges in here. This round of combat, though, I really think I'm going to beat those Knights Errant, and if I roll, I think, a 7 or maybe an 8, the Blackguard will get a fight. We'll get a charge into the flank of these Questing Knights. Those warriors in the Questing Knights front have my general with them, so they're pretty killy. And the crossbowmen are not going to kill the Knight of the Realm unit, but I think I'll hold them up for a while. That Prophetess has the Crown of Command, so yeah, I don't think I'm going to be breaking them anytime soon. But if I can get a unit in their flank, I think I can just do enough wounds just to finish them off. So there's another look. After combat, the Blackguard beat the Knights Errant. They had one guy left who fled. They rolled high. They rolled an 8 and got into the flank of the Questing Knights, beat them, overran them, and during their pursuit hit the lone remaining knight errant and killed him. So yeah, and the crossbows actually did pretty well. You can see there's that Knight of the Realm units only has her champion left with the BSB and the prophetess, and she's going to die the next time I get a charge, and then they won't be stubborn and they're going to die. So yeah, that's pretty much the game. These guys don't rally. It doesn't matter. I'm going to chase them off the board. And when all's said and done, this is all he has left on the table. And it's the end of turn 4, or halfway through turn 4, and he just concedes, and I agree. There's really no use playing this out. So a fun game. It was really interesting playing a Dark Elf army. I've always, there used to be one I wanted to start, and it was kind of fun just to try them out. And I don't know. I mean, it was interesting seeing somebody else play Bretonnians. After the game, he asked me, what he should have done differently. And with the exception of a couple minor things, I didn't have a great answer for him. It's not that the game couldn't have gone differently, but this army Dark Elf build that I have is really suited for knights. We've got 2 big stubborn units that's going to hold everything up and allow flank charges and everything else. So yeah. Anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.